So if you haven't played Aatrox much and was an avid Aatrox main, do you think it's worth to get his kit down again? Well, it's gonna take you a while to get his kit down, and when I say that, I mean like in order to sort of get the whole nuance of his new kit, you really have to like be ready to wrap your head around him. It's not because he's like particularly, you know, mechanically intensive or like difficult, but because there's like kind of this awkward design to him that's like, because when they changed him, they wanted him to be like kind of juggernaut. So he has things like ending lag on his Qs, and like he has like his ultimate for some reason, like it's like a really backwards design where if you it gives you more damage, which gives you more healing, but then that makes it more difficult for you to revive. There's like small nitpicks like that those things really annoy me. But if you're just picking him up, like if you're just trying him out and stuff like that, and you're just looking to have fun or whatever, you can definitely play him. His early game's like really strong. You don't have to actually like do anything crazy to like, you know, be pretty successful with him in like the early game and stuff like that, like mid game. It's like what you'll find if you were an old Aatrox main is that your late game carry potential is a lot lower. Your regen is nowhere near as high as before unless you're like hardcore investing in like Ravenous Hunter and like Death Stance and stuff like that. And because of that, it's like you can't, like, fighting tanks is something that you can't do anymore, which is insane, right? You can fight them, but you won't really beat them because you can't kill them. And it's not that you can't kill them that's the problem. It's just that like you can't heal off them because the armor, like their armor, reduces your healing by a massive amount now. So it's kind of awkward. I play him with like more of a, you know, assassin-y sort of focus. I still build like, you know, I don't build, you know, full glass, but the way I have to play him in order to like carry, like have the most agency in a game, is that I have to play sort of like a pseudo assassin. It's like an assassin who essentially sometimes throws himself into the enemy team, like literally inting just to draw aggro. It is awkward. That's the thing. And it's not to say that on old Aatrox I didn't do that as well. Like I would throw myself into their team just to threaten people, but the thing is, most of the time, well, not even most of the time, I could guarantee that I could kill people with old Aatrox 100% within like a second or two, because I used to play really high damage and stuff like that. With this, it's like you approach this situation late game where the delay on your Q and E is too long for like actual, you know, high elo gameplay, in my opinion. Like right now people play him in high elo, but like they don't really need to. They play him as more of like a team fight figure, you know what I mean? Not as like a solo carry figure. Like he's really good in coordinated plays and stuff like that, but on his own, if you get to that late game and you're against like an ADC who's not even late game, like if you get to like mid game and or like it's even early game and the enemy ADC is like really fed or something like that, you don't have the sort of skirmisher speed like that Yasuo does or like Fiora does, to get your damage out or like to catch people that you would need to actually secure kills on those champions. On like, you know, other skirmishers who are really quick, or like ADCs who are like moving around quickly, like Jin for example, or something like that. Like if I had 45% CDR, Jesus, I'm gonna despawn these minions really quickly because they're just ruining towers. Like they're ruining. There's a bunch like hitting top lane, but like I don't know what the timer's on. It's 7 minutes now. I've literally been going like Swifties into like max CDR just so I can get my ult as much as possible and make as many plays as possible in the early mid game, so that I don't actually have to make those plays in late game. So I try and control the enemy team's scaling from the get-go so that I don't have to actually worry about dealing with them myself later on, because it's dealing with them yourself, which is the hard part, because your champion like can't do it anymore, if that makes sense. But you can actually get a lot of agency with this champion if you have like the build that I run. It's gonna look like pretty troll from the get-go, right? People I mean, not pretty troll, but like it's gonna look different than you would expect from the mains that you've been seeing, maybe. This is sort of, it's like I can't really say the exact build right now, but this is more of like a sort of flex sort of, I don't know, like the enemy team, I don't know who would be there. So I think This is probably something that I would run. How tanky am I? This is probably something that I would end up running. I don't usually build armor because usually I can just dunk ADCs. But if I'm against like a Zed or something like that, I might go like Tabby or like Deadmans. Or like if I'm against a Rengar, like I'll go, or maybe even Randuin's or something like that. This is like if they only have like 1 or 2 AD sources and they're not hard carrying the game, I'll do this. But like the reason I do this build is because I have Youmu's so that I don't have to use my ultimate to make plays early. I get Youmu's like pretty much first. I go Youmu's into Cleaver. I get 45% CDR, so my ultimate has like if I had this at rank 1, right? Actually, let me reset it. No, if this is at 66 seconds now, but like you can hit 40% CDR or 45% ish around sort of level 10, 11, right? And at that time, your ultimate has like a 90-second cooldown, down from like 160, and that's at rank 1. So you can actually like leave your ultimate at rank 1 and then max out your Q and E. And having your E, like, because putting levels in the E lowers the internal cooldown between each cast, which lets you make plays more cleanly and like more reliably. So you have to actually put points in that earlier on. I found that leaving my ultimate level 1 is fine. I like level 11ish, and like finishing off my Emax and my Qmax is like really important. You don't actually have to put any points. Well, not any points. You only have to put 1 point in W, because the combo that you actually want to do, if you're like getting onto someone, you want to kill them, right? This is the combo that you'll want to do. You'll have your Youmu's on or whatever. You run at them and you go like this, and you see that combo right there. If you land that Q, if you get used to doing it at that range, like this, you get used to doing that, right? They'll guaranteed get pulled back even with W at like level 1, because they can't run out in time. Like the knockup doesn't give them enough time to get out. If there's someone like Jhin or like someone with a dash or blink or something like that, of course they can still like try and, like if it's Jhin, he'll literally just auto attack you after this and just run straight out the back. It's insane. Like you can't actually beat him unless you surprise him and like come from a different angle. Yeah, if someone has a blink and you get that one first auto off, you can actually like, since you have another charge up ready, you can hit them with your second Q wherever they want to go. They try and blink out or whatever it is. Against skirmishers, you might actually have to play that back like after getting that first one off. But generally, that's the initial combo that you want to do against a target that you're ready to just kill. Like that dash sort of, maybe not that one. I was a bit too close, but you get the point. So you can make that sort of play with like Youmu's and stuff like that. Usually it's difficult to get in range of people when you without ulting. But with Youmu's and like Swifties, you can really like do a lot, right? You don't have to use your ultimate nearly as much because you're a lot safer thanks to your movement speed. And Swifties also has the added benefit of reducing the slow from your ultimate's revive, so you can reposition a lot better. And something to note as well is that like Aatrox's revive is really poor when used reactively, right? But the movement speed that you get from Nimbus Cloak, like that I'm running, and Swifties is, oh whoops, huh. This always happens. I have fucking a death dance, kills me. But the movement speed from Nimbus Cloak and your ultimate and like Swifties, like the reduction is pretty good to actually like help you just run away. I actually think it fell off. The Nimbus Cloak movement speed disappeared there. Well, like it didn't proc in time. Is that? I'm gonna check that out actually. See if it falls off midway through or not. So I haven't actually looked into that. Okay, so the Nimbus Cloak movement speed didn't proc there. I don't know if that's because it's getting removed, or if I don't know if that's because it's getting removed, or if it's because maybe the revive like cancels its activation or something like that. I'll need to rethink about that. But generally, like you move a lot faster when you have Swifties compared to not having it. And Swifties and the magical footwear, because it gives you like 20 extra movement speed on top. So I have like 330 movement speed there. Usually I have like 240 or something like that. It's actually a significant amount, and you can use that to reposition to like next to a wall that's actually further away from the fight, and then just hop over it and get out. Like one of my favorite things is like getting dropped into passive, like crawling in. You can crawl from like here all the way to here. Maybe not. It's probably like from here to here, and you can just do the, you can just hop the wall and get out. If they follow you again, you can just hop this wall. Like this, because of the cooldown reduction, you can actually just, you're actually just hyper mobile. This, I'm pretty sure you can go over this. Yeah, it's very difficult to keep up with an Aatrox through the jungle. You can go over all sorts of walls. I don't think you can really go over this one properly. It's kind of a fucky one, but you get the point. You can, he's hyper mobile. I've been playing him in jungle a bit, just to mess around, and you can do some, you can pull off some kind of nasty ganks like here. If someone's, this is like one of my favorite spots because ADCs, if they're behind, they usually like sit, whoops, they usually like sit right here and they start like farming. You can just camp here, and then the moment you can pop your, you know, veil, the moment they start walking up here, you can just go like this and like attack them. You know, Youmuu's chase them down, kill them, and then you're just gone. You can just, and it's such a great place to like assassinate people from, because you can just hop over all these walls and like get the fuck out. Like no one can really stop you. Something that you'll like, there's a lot of different tips. Well, my foot's clipping through the ground here. It didn't look very good. Hang on. Huh, that's an interesting one. I haven't seen that before. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff when it comes to him. I run Airy. I don't run Airy because like Airy's the best out of Airy and Comet or something like that. I just like Airy because I can proc it more. But you can totally run Comet if you want to, or like you can even try Phase Rush. This is just the preferred rune page that I run because it has Nimbus Cloak, it has Transcendence, and it's just essentially what you want is Nimbus Cloak and Transcendence. These two are just the best things next, like the next best things. You can mix and match whatever you want from the top and bottom to try it out if you really want to. Like secondary is just magical footwear and cosmic insight. The funny thing is that like this, yeah, dude, it's just like I just spent a lot of time like messing around and playing League instead of instead of doing other things, and like holy shit, you can kind of, Aatrox can kind of be satisfying, you know, like you can get some stuff done on him. Like I wouldn't say that this whole Q thing is the worst thing possible. It's just that like the way it's balanced and the way it's designed, like to purposefully be sort of like laggy and stuff like that, and like his ultimate having that weird backward stuff, and his E like not having a real animation and just being a weird headbutt in the air, and like his chains that there's like, why does he have these? We don't have any lore sort of on why these exist. Like he's not a chain warden or something like that, but like you can do stuff with him and it feels kind of satisfying up to a point, I'd say. So you can kind of make him work. It's just like when you want to get that highest point, like when you're really mastering him and you're like, oh, you know, I'm mechanically there, that's when it gets like you start hitting the design limit of him. Because obviously, you know, when you make a champion that's supposed to be easy for everyone to pick up, you end up usually skipping the important sort of like hard part. Like you sort of skip like making difficult, like hard mechanics in the kit that people have to like actually abide by to make them work. So it's like, as an example, like look at my passive right here, this Deathbringer stance. The cooldown on this doesn't scale down, by the way, which would you'd kind of think it would be, considering it's like one of his main things. This mutilates targets. In a full combo, like the full combo I just did, where you do this and you like start your Q, you usually hit them with your Q only here, and then you finish them off, and you get a Deathbringer strike last. What use is this mutilation that reduces shields and healing if it's the last strike that I'm doing on my opponent? Like it doesn't, you know, if it was the first hit, then sure, that support who's next to them, their shields and heals are reduced now on this target, but as the last hit, this does nothing. Like this being here does nothing. In the same vein, like when you actually hit someone, you just casting abilities reduces the cooldown, not landing them, just casting them. So like what incentive is there for an Aatrox player to have to land his like abilities, you know? Like like there's these things in his kit where you're like, if you know, there's a lot more power and like a lot more, you know, usability that could be put into this kit if he was designed in a way where like players were actually punished for making mistakes, as well as like if basic things like this deathbringer strike, like being, you know, this whole situation with like mutilation, that was like considered. Maybe like make it so that his ability is just mutilate people in general. Like that could be his thing, you know? AoE mutilation by picking Aatrox. That's probably broken, but like something like that where maybe his first, you know, his first time touching someone with an ability, if you W someone like this, right, that could just apply mutilation, and then that could be your full combo, you know? And that full combo, they don't have, you know, their healing and shielding working properly. That could just be it. That would be better, you know? It's, you got my point. It only applies to one. Yeah, this dude, no one, this mechanic, like I talked to I talked to one of the other guys earlier. I asked, I mean, never mind, it's just dumb. Like the AoE thing, it could be his thing, you know? It could be his whole gimmick. Right now it's just, his gimmick is just that he's oppressive. He doesn't have anything special about him really, outside of just damage. And like, dude, look, he's in, you know, the whole meme about him being another Riven, even though that's not true. So he's definitely playable, but you just have to, there's just a lot of, I personally have like so many nitpicks with this, with the way this thing is designed. Like he genuinely could be good. I don't mind, you know, his rework and stuff like that. His visuals are pretty decent and stuff like that, but when I say pretty decent, I mean they're pretty good. Like the animations are like Q animations, whatever, and stuff like that, they're all right. He's missing some like transition animations and shit like that too, but I'm more worried about playability at this point because they don't really seem to care about the whole animation thing. Like we've told them, but they don't change anything. They don't actually bring them back. They have all the all of his animations like made, but they're just not all in the game. So you just get some times where like your animations just like, he's supposed to have a standing sheath for his sword, but that's just not there right now. He's supposed to have one where he takes it out and he doesn't hop around because that's the movement one, but he doesn't have that as well. He has all sorts of animations which he's missing. Like there he looks like he's walking, but he's not moving, you know? It's like stuff like that. He has some random times where he'll switch between, or he'll like, you'll auto attack someone and he'll just put his blade back for no reason, like, and then he'll just auto attack like with this invisible auto attack. It's all sorts of random stuff. Yeah, if you can ignore all of that, he can be pretty fun. Like, sorry if I like, if you can no, I haven't made a YouTube video on that yet, like on the whole I'm assuming you mean like about them not really finishing Aatrox, but like I haven't made a YouTube video on it. No, I haven't really had the time to.